What's up, guys? A little bit later than I planned. In fact, it is 25 to 11 at night on Thursday night. I'm not sure when you'll all get to see this, but French Grand Prix time. And I always do my preview on a Thursday. It's just been pretty busy today, so I've only just got round to it. Mrs. P has gone away for the weekend, gone on holiday without me. She's gone back to Marrakesh. She's done it under the pretense of it being a buying trip for her interiors shop, but we all know it's just a weekend away with her mate. Anyway, that's another story. So I'm on my own here, which is why I'm late doing this video. But let's look at the French Grand Prix because Paul Ricard is, of course, where it's being held now for the second time in the modern era of Formula One. And I actually think this is a really interesting circuit in terms of on a technical level. It's an interesting circuit. Doesn't actually often provide the best or the most spectacular racing. I don't think the drivers love it. It was a nightmare to get in and out of last year. Just in terms of access to and from the circuit. So there's lots wrong with this place, don't get me wrong. And I just think that on a technical level, and that's what I'm going to look at today, from an engineering point of view, it provides quite a number of decent challenges. The circuit itself was obviously rebuilt or modernised to be a test facility. So it has a number of layouts that you can configure the circuit to. We're of course using the same one that we used last year, so the drivers and teams know it from last year. But it's got endless amounts of runoff, no gravel. Unlikely we'll get a safety car here for that very reason. We don't tend to get cars stranded. There's plenty of places to get it wrong and still find your way back onto the circuit. Now, I don't like any of that from a sporting point of view. Really don't like that sort of thing. But what I do like is the fact that we've got a combination of corners. It's a reasonably long circuit, one of the longer circuits that we go to, quite a lot of corners, and it's got a real mix of, the corners are almost evenly split, left and right turns. We've got some fast corners, we've got slow corners, we've got long straights, DRS zones that will assist with overtaking. But we've also got some really long duration corners, which really do put some energy through the tyres. And that's one of the biggest challenges around here, actually, is the lateral limitations on the car. So if you think about places like Canada, where it was all about braking and then traction onto long straights, that's longitudinally, the cars are longitudinally limited in terms of their grip levels and the tyre performance levels. Well, at this particular circuit, at Paul Ricard, it's what we call lateral limited. And that means that it's not so much about front to rear. It's not so much about balancing tyre temperature front to rear like it was in Canada. It's much easier to do that around this circuit. This is much more about the lateral changes of direction and the long duration corners, as I say. So putting stress through one side or the other of the tyres rather than one end or the other of the car. So that's what they're talking about when they're talking about front or rear limited or lateral limited circuits. We have got some great corners. Now, I mean, just looking at the circuit map, I mean, we've got, what is it, turn 1, 2, 3, is it turn 4? 1, 2, 3. Turn 4 is a brilliantly long right-hander, which seems to go on forever. And that means the left-hand side tyres are put through a massive amount of heat build-up through that long corner. And then we've got the same again through, what's that, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, excuse me, I don't know the corner numbers, 8, 9 and 10. Another long duration right-hander. So the same two tyres on the left-hand side of the car are being put under massive load, massive stress, and it's really key that we don't overheat those through that part of the lap, because of course closing out the lap where you come on for a really slow corner and onto the start-finish straight, then it is about traction, then it is about being able to get that power down and have grip when you need to accelerate onto that long start-finish straight, again another DRS zone. So loads to be thinking about. The circuit's quite bumpy. It's actually been resurfaced through large parts of the track ahead of this year's Grand Prix, but it's been resurfaced with a very similar asphalt to what was already there. So actually it's more about keeping a constant grip level and a constant abrasion level, if you like, around the entire lap. Not a particularly abrasive circuit. So that I'm talking about the roughness of the tarmac, that doesn't tend to cause tyre degradation through that abrasion level, which you can get at some circuits where the roughness of the circuit literally wears away the surface of the tyre very quickly. We don't have that here so much because it's nice and smooth in terms of, on a macro level, the indentations and the roughness of the tarmac. So we don't have to worry about tyre degradation in that sense. You can get thermal tyre degradation, and it's going to be hot. The ambient temperatures are going to be hot, the track temperatures are going to be hot, and as I talked about earlier, building up heat through particularly some of those long duration corners can start to degrade your tyres through thermal degradation, where they just get too hot and then start to lose performance that way. The sort of chemical compound of the rubber breaks down and changes, and that's when you start to lose performance, and actually sometimes you can't recover that. Graining shouldn't be so much of an issue where we're talking about temperature build-up. I don't think temperatures are going to be cool enough to have that. We've got the middle 3 tyres of Pirelli's range this race, and actually all the top few teams have picked an almost identical selection in their tyre nominations, so in their tyre selections rather. So not much variation in terms of that. Most people tend to know what they want and know what they're going to want to end up with as well. The tyres are a slightly more conservative selection from Pirelli this year, and the thinking behind that is to allow the teams to push for the entire stint, to push hard without having to save. But of course, the kind of modern thinking will always lean towards trying to do a one-stop race wherever possible. That would certainly, in most people's book, be the first plan A. And to do that, you do need to manage your tyre life. So it doesn't always work out that way, and I suspect we'll end up with another one-stop race. You can do a two-stop round here, and it's not a lot slower. But actually, one-stop is normally the preferred way of doing things. In terms of aero, it's probably about a medium level of downforce, because you've really got to balance the long straights, the 2 really long straights, or 3 straights really, and these really sort of high speed corners where you need some aero grip to keep the car on the road. I mean, there are some brilliant corners where you're going almost, well, you are going flat. And which one is it? There's, I think it's turn, I forget the corner number. Which one's that? Turn 1, 2, 3. There's a corner, which I don't know the number, which is flat, and I'll show you it on the game when I do a lap, hopefully. I mean, I'm hoping to do a lap on the game. I've actually broken my camera tonight. Claire's going to kill me because it's actually her camera that I use for most of these vlogs, but it fell off its tripod and snapped the screen off. So, oh, that's a nightmare. That's what I normally record the lap on, because I haven't got the capability to screen capture at the moment. Long story. Anyway, I'm trying to upload the lap at the moment, but it's struggling. So anyway, I'll explain all that in another video. If I can show you the lap, I will. But it has a corner which, a couple of corners which are flat and really high speed changes of direction. And for that, you do need a high level of downforce, but you don't want to compromise those long straights. So it ends up being around about medium. I think the tyres, as I said, it's got those potential of thermal degradation. Probably not the toughest on tyres around here because the surface is pretty smooth. As I said, we don't tend to have too much stress. That left-hand side can be put under load for a long period of time. You have to manage it, but it's not a tyre limited circuit like some of the others are. Definitely overtaking opportunities. 2 DRS zones we had last year. We'll wait and see exactly what they do this year, but I think it'll probably be the same. We may end up with a third, but I think unlikely. So opportunities to overtake, definitely opportunities to get it wrong. And because we've got so much runoff area, there's not so much of a penalty for getting it wrong. So on one hand, you can say that's not great. We want to see drivers punished for making mistakes. But on the other hand, perhaps it encourages people to make these kind of last of the late breaker lunges, these slightly bold moves where at other circuits they just wouldn't be able to make them. So you can get a good race around here. Lewis was dominant, of course, last year, wasn't he? I suspect this is going to favour Mercedes again, because although it's got these long straights where Ferrari could well be good, this also has a number of the slower speed corners that are definitely going to favour Mercedes. Whereas in Canada, the straights are the predominant factor around that circuit, That's not so much here. They are a significant factor, but the corners are also equally, if not more, so around Paul Ricard. So my money would be on Mercedes, and I know that sounds boring, but I think if you're going to be a betting man, you go for Lewis Hamilton again. I suspect that's probably how it's going to play out. Got to spare a thought for Esteban Ocon, who doesn't get to drive in his home Grand Prix this year. And think about last year, he got wiped out on the first lap. So still in his Formula One career, he's yet to race properly at a French Grand Prix. And that is somebody we really should be seeing in a French Grand Prix. So fingers crossed he gets his drive sorted very soon. I think it could be a good weekend. I've got my fingers crossed. I'll be commentating on Radio 5 Live alongside Jolyon Palmer on Saturday, so looking forward to that. If I can get the PlayStation or the Xbox lap uploaded, you will see that in a moment. If I can't, this will be the end of the video, apart from to say that, as always, I'm giving away a prize from the gpbox.com, and this week it comes from Joel Clark. You've seen some of his work before. This one I think you're going to like. Check that out. I think it's awesome. If you would like to win it, it's really very easy. Joel Clark is on Instagram at joelclark.artist. I want you to go and follow him. I want you to post something on Instagram. I want you to go to Joel Clark's page at thegpbox.com, which I will show you, and I will link for you rather in the description. I want you to visit that page on the website. I want you to take a screen grab or take a photo, do whatever you want. I want you to post it on Instagram and tell me why you like what you're posting. So find something on the gpbox.com from Joel Clark, the artist. He's got some amazing stuff. Post it on Instagram, tag me in it, tag the GPBox in it, and obviously tag Joel Clark in it, and use the hashtag GPBFRE. GPBFRE is this week's hashtag. I will pick a winner on Monday, and you could be taking home that brilliant piece of artwork by Joel Clark, celebrating the French Grand Prix this weekend. Enjoy it, folks. I hope it's a good one. If you're with me on 5 Live on Saturday, then great. Hopefully you'll enjoy that too. If not, just enjoy the weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Ta-ra.